He was astonished, and Lily was also astonished. His eyes left the girl's palm and there was a crack. The attack could not even see clearly, crushing all obstacles. After Alan galloped, all the ruins and rubble disappeared, only the routines remained. The gust of dusk gradually floated from the west. Above, the sky still had a hint of blue, but it would definitely turn the color of dusk soon. This is the color of the end. For the warriors who fought in the battle wilderness, this is the color of the end that declares the end of the battle. Ottar picked up the black sword that fell at his feet and slowly looked west. I looked towards the small hill where the house of God stood, which was gradually dyed red. In the completely destroyed amphitheater, only Ottar was left standing. The dwarves and elves buried in the rubble only moved occasionally and were already dying. So, this is the end? Just as the boar man thought so emotionlessly. Someone groaned like a beast and stood up. Long, dusty blonde hair. Covered with a layer of blood and wounds, there is no beauty in the appearance. Only the red coral eyes did not let go of the dying light. Haydeen? Ottar really did not show any emotion, just staring at the tough warrior like him. The elf stood up with great difficulty, almost fell several times, stepped firmly again, raised his head and looked at the boar man in front of him. "Is that what you want to do?" Ottar said almost defiantly. Haydeen curled his lips and forced a smile. "Who knows, what does this look like to you? You attach great importance to efficiency. You should have done better and won this battle. A mere victory." Haydeen laughed at his statement with blood dripping from his lips. "This kind of boring game. Ever since I betrayed you, it's become a dead end. As long as I go and break that goddess Sama's flower, it's fine." That's right. After the base camp was destroyed, Haydeen invaded the House of God and stole Freya's flower. In this way, this war with the exaggerated name of a faction war will end in a hurry. But that's meaningless. That kind of thing doesn't make any sense at all. What I want to do isn't that kind of thing. That lady freed me from my duty as king. So this time, it should be me. I must drag that lady down from that throne. Ottar listened to her monologue in silence. She must be freed from the so-called yoke of the goddess. Even if Haydeen could guess the goddess's heart, he could not understand the daughter of the gods, Horn. Even so, he knew what the king was, but he encountered the goddesses. Misfortune. Seeing the girl's smile, he already knew what her true expectation was. This cry could not reach the ears of the goddess on the throne. However, this will was transmitted to the hearts of the people who had not yet stood up. You know, the profile of a goddess who seeks love and suffers because of love. The mask of a goddess who is perplexed by love while looking at the elf-like hair ornament. With a click, the dwarf's fingers grabbed the rubble. I see. Abandoning everything but love, but still suffering like a girl, you're longing. It was a dialogue aimed at the boy. The sentimentality of a girl who only seeks the heart of a boy, but is also entangled in the shackles of abundance. With a creak, the elf's hand gripped the wooden sword tightly. You didn't notice. The tears are still wet on your cheeks, was the final conversation. The boy's fists trembled like flames. Since you noticed, why did you still lose? If she loses this battle, her tears will never stop. A solitary victory will bring love, and this adult will always be a goddess. The words that shook the surroundings continued to beat their hearts. Spur them to move their feet that could stand up at any moment. So, she must be ashamed. The noble goddess must be buried. Even if Freya doesn't allow this behavior, what should I do? What kind of servant are you if you don't do your best for your master to protect yourself? What kind of family are you without the awareness of being hated? Then he said, "This is the loyalty I want to dedicate to her." Even with the mark of a sinner on his back, he has the stupid will to draw his sword against the goddess. Everything is for her. So, it seemed like he was influenced by this obstinate, pretentious, and extremely noble sin. The elf stood up. The dwarf lifted his body from the ground. 3 pairs of eyes looked at the wall blocking the front. "Disappear for me. Disappear for me." Haydine's faith, Ryu's will, and Mia's fighting spirit penetrated Ottar. "Finish you?" Finally, the boy stood up. "Go to Miss Seer." The people who clashed. People who kept fighting. The souls the goddess fell in love with at first sight made Ottar narrow his eyes. The goddess has granted her favor, but you all want to reject it. You want to resist. Not just the young man, he looked at all the people the goddess loved. "Very well, let's go." Then he mounted his black sword and looked at them with the eyes of the beast. "This is the last one. The final battle is declared here. There is no chance of winning. There is no escape." But still struggling, trying to grab the light, the adventurers are exactly the kind of people who refuse to admit defeat. Therefore, those who stand up will inevitably attract the golden light. Wild treasure mallet, let's dance. Foxtail turned into a condensed ball of light and fell from the sky, enveloping Haydine, Ryu, and Mia. The figure of the intruder was immediately reflected in his astonished students. Belkuan, Elfakuan. Hestia, sweating profusely, ran out of the ravine formed by the destroyed outer wall. Behind her, Harrowheim was standing on the rubble on the southwest side, casting magic. Following Lily's instructions, they continued fighting and finally reached Bell and the others. "Mr. Bell, show your back." The last status update on a panicked Bell. "I heard. You want to defeat that man, right?" Turning around, I saw Ryu and Mia looking at him from the side, smiling. "Wait for you to come here, Bell. Let's make some noise first." Haydine didn't even look at him. He just showed his back and said, "Do it quickly." Stupid rabbit. Yes. Bell chose to believe Haydine and the others, and knelt on the spot. Haydine had lost her armor, her battle attire was torn, and even her back was covered in fresh wounds. The young man's body made Hestia's face turn pale for a moment, and then she dripped divine blood and began to upgrade her. Skill points. The adventurer and the beast left the boy behind and turned the completely destroyed theater into a battle desert. The pitch-black greatsword was raised and then lowered. Ryu and the others scattered in 3 directions to avoid it. The current words can handle the attack. But it's so hard to control. If you're not careful, you'll be carried away by your ability. Even so, you must control it, otherwise you won't be able to win. Not to mention Ryu, who has experience in battles related to heresy. This is the first time Mia and Haydine have experienced level sublimation. The sharply increased power called LV7 surprised and shook the two. Afterwards, he took the reins with his spiritual power. The 3 of them used their different tactics to launch an attack against the strongest. Mission accomplished soon, the balance will be right. Ryu chose to fight in the air. Fearlessly, she jumped on the head of the wingless body, which couldn't move freely, confusing Ottar's vision. Ryu wants to gain air supremacy. I want to try air and ground pincer attack. Like an elf flying with fluttering wings, she distracted Ottar's attention to the sky and boldly swung down the star sword. Ottar hated this sharp meteor slash. He easily blocked or dodged it, letting the great sword deflect in anger, and Ryu still used Kotachi Futaba to slide across the enemy's attack surface. A large number of sparks splashed, and the impact that seemed to shatter the body came, which was completely blocked by his ability to hit pseudo LV7.